Who needs a fancy gala dinner and a compere paid millions when you've got a pod room and two mates chatting Btcc? This is our long-awaited 2025 Touring Car Award show.
Hello and welcome back to the British Touring Car Podcast. We are back once again, and Merry Christmas to all. We are bringing you our award show for the season. Now we're going to have a run through and just have a little look back over the season as well. We'll take you through each weekend and we'll pick out our awards of the season.
Absolutely. As ever, it's been a painstaking process. It's all a bit of fun and there are no real winners or losers. You're all winners. I was going to say you're all losers for listening. You're all winners for listening, and that is the most important thing.
Yeah, we've got, I think, 12 awards to give out for drivers on teams and such like throughout the season. We've got our predictions championship to finalise right at the end.
I've just noticed you've forgotten the trophy.
I have, yeah.
So we'll have to give a fake one that nobody will realise is the untrue one, and then you'll have to get it to me in the post. If I win it off you, of course, you could have two. Yeah. We know you've already got one in your belt, which I have prepared ready to hand over today, but we'll see how the other one goes at the end of the pod. So you've got to stay tuned right to the end to see how our prediction championship of the overall prediction finishing order winners went.
Yeah, and we're going to even have a little look back at the career of Steve Ryder, who departed the championship this year and is hopefully enjoying his retirement.
Absolutely. So we shall get ourselves into the first award of the year before we do anything else, and that is...
Yeah, it is our best weekend. So the best weekend that we attended. We went to quite a few this year, didn't we? Very early on in the season, most of them. But we're racking up the tally for the amount of touring car weekends we've now attended over the last 4, 5, 6 years.
And for editing purposes, because we do our own graphics, etc., every award only has 4 possible nominees, because otherwise I'd still be trying to do it now and making it eligible, making it legible so you can see it all that fun. So it is. We have been to more than 4 rounds this year, but we've picked our favourite 4, and then we'll whittle it down to a winner after that.
Yeah. So the nominees are the opening weekend at Donington, Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, Snetterton, and Alton Park.
Yeah, and this was actually one of the more easier ones to choose. We did on each one sit down, put our nominations forward and argue, discuss, the debate which ones to go for. But to be fair, Donington Park was great because we actually had racing for an opening weekend, which we didn't have in 2024.
And it was your birthday.
And it was my birthday. Brands Hatch was your birthday.
Yeah.
And it was sunny, and Brands Hatch is always good fun. Snetterton is our local, so we feel obligated to like it, even though it's not really been particularly good for many years. And then Alton Park, which was our clear winner for 2025. We had rain. It's beautiful to look around. It's a really cool large circuit. You can basically see the whole of the circuit from walking around as a spectator. There's plenty on there. And getting in and out is actually well managed, which is a big tick for us when we go to these things.
I must say, we've had we had a little bit of trouble getting out of Alton last time round, but we managed to nip out quite quickly this time. And it was also a weekend with our partners, a full weekend away for both of us.
Yeah, that was a negative on our scoring purposes, but overall it did come through. One of them does.
Okay. But yeah, so Alton takes best weekend of 2025.
Yep, so as you all know then, our favourite weekend attended wasn't the season opener, but it was still a delight to be at the start of the season, hearing those cars for the first time in earnest, seeing them turn a wheel in anger. So as is customary, Donington Park was the venue for the 2025 Curtain Raiser, and we were in Derbyshire to see the cars in race trim for the first time. As I briefly mentioned in the nomination section, compared to 24,
much better weather.
It was a very solid opener, especially for Ash Sutton, who roared out of the blocks, claiming back-to-back wins. I thought that wasn't going to be happening anymore.
Yes,
and a third. Ingram was nothing if not consistent, claiming a trio of silver medals, making it clear from the get-go that these two are getting ready to duke it out for the rest of the season. Elsewhere, Chilton kicked off his 19th season in touring cars in style, grabbing a Race 3 win and the first winner of the Virtue era, which is something I'm sure will have wrangled the other Tom in that garage.
I think Tom stopped aging now as well.
Yes, he's going backwards, like Benjamin Button.
Yes.
Yeah. So all early signs pointed to a Ford v Hyundai season. Doesn't quite have the same ring as Ford and Ferrari, which was made into a film, but never mind. Rowbottom and Camish also picked up some silverware, both taking podiums as well. A steady start, and that would kick off a run of 3 events for us. But as you've probably come accustomed to on the podcast by now, we always look at the negatives as well as the positives. But as it's Christmas and it's a season of good cheer, etc., we'll get the negatives out the way early. So our next award, we'll look at the worst bad surprise?
Yeah.
Surprise bad? What are you going to call it?
Surprise bad.
Surprise bad of the season.
Yeah, so the nominees for this are the dreadful Toyota engine that they seem to stick with for far too long this season. Max Hall's difficult start to his British touring car career. 7 non-finishes in the 12 rounds that he competed really wasn't a great start. One Motorsport unfortunately having to drop out midway through the season, not a surprise we were wanting or hoping for. And the circus that went with Michael Crease and Virtue. Some miscommunications, shall we say, that went on at Team Virtue.
But there can only be one winner. And we looked at this and thought, what is the bigger surprise? A debutant having a tough start, not massively surprising in some ways. Misfiled paperwork or Crease not competing a full season, sadly, isn't a bad surprise either. Albeit this was exceptionally interesting circumstances.
It was.
To put it bluntly. One Motorsport, it was a surprise to see them come out of the competition, but obviously ill health can't be helped. So given they had manufacturer backing and were running a 4-car team with a 3-time touring car champion, it was a massive bad surprise to see Toyota running a tractor for most of the season. I reckon you and I could have out-jogged it, or maybe not you. I reckon I could have out-jogged it on the straight at times. It was woefully bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really bad. And it was shown up even more towards the end of the season when they eventually put that Toka engine in and managed to pick up some wins and podiums.
Particularly given that Toka engine hasn't been the strongest, shall we say, in recent years. And that just absolutely highlighted the differences between those two pieces of machinery. So yeah, Toyota, specifically the Toyota engine, gets our award for the bad surprise of 2025. Next up then was the amphitheatre of Brands Hatch. And I always say it when we do the previews and reviews for these for Brands Hatch, if you've not been, get there. It's honestly a different experience than most of our racetracks because of the way it's like a sunken bowl. It is a really good day out.
Yeah, if you've seen it on the TV before, that hill is a lot steeper than you realise.
Absolutely. So for the first trip to Brands Hatch, we had a jaunt around the Indy circuit, and whilst it didn't win our favourite weekend of the season, it is always a nice day out, come rain or come shine.
It was warm.
It was very warm.
It was very warm.
BMW had looked poor in testing and weren't electrifying at the season opener, but they gave fans of the German giant a hint of hope through the peaks and troughs of the Kent circuit. Jake Hill stormed a pole and took the honours in race 1, followed home by rookie Charles Rainford, who officially announced himself on the touring car scene, and Tom Ingram, who has a habit of picking up podiums in third in that race 1.
Normally.
Absolutely. Race 2, we saw Daryl DeLeon make the most of the tyre rules for 2025. See previous rants, I won't go into those here. And came back from 7th on the grid to take his maiden victory in the British touring car. An excellent moment for him in his so early on in his touring car career as well. Behind him, Morgan made the most of being back in front-wheel drive machinery, snatching second, with Sutton scoring valuable points in third. And then race 3, I said that in race 1, Rainford officially arrived, but he stamped that down even further in race 3 by taking his first win in just his 6th start and making light work of passing the reigning champion Jake Hill in the process of doing so. Hill claimed a second, with Ingram picking up another third. That was his 5th podium out of possible 6. A bit mental.
It's all right start, isn't it?
He's not a bad driver, I suppose, is he? And then Jack Sears was contestants taking outright wins and podiums along the way, which was sort of making a mockery a little bit of what you might term a rookie. Although it wasn't great for rookies everywhere, because we did see Unlimited Motorsport break the unwritten rule of racing, which is if you're going to hit anybody, don't hit your teammate. And
that was a bizarre overtaking manoeuvre, wasn't it?
Yeah, we saw Hall and Patterson come together at the top of Paddock Hill Bend, both ending up in the barrier and both ending up with egg on their faces, shall we say. It wasn't a great moment for anyone involved in that particular team.
I must say, I really didn't expect the BMWs to come back so vehemently that they did on that second weekend, especially with their early season pace at Donington. It really looked like it was going to be a long season for them. But to have all three of them taking a win across the weekend. It was only Moffat that lost out, and he didn't have a particularly bad weekend either, did he?
And we got teased by BTC a little bit, because after the race we got footage released of the crash on boards between Patterson and Hull, which we thought, oh, this is an interesting angle. We might get this for the race. That was very much no. You can't have too much fun, and we can't show off too much. So that was an interesting addition we had. Shame it didn't continue for the rest of the season. But we've spoken at length about rookies, so we might as well tee up our next award, which is the Rookie of the Season.
Yeah, Rookie of the Season. There were only a handful of them this season. So we're going to look at Charles Rainford, James Dorling, Max Buxton and Max Hull. And I think there's one clear of all the rest there, isn't there?
Absolutely. So these aren't people that are eligible to take part in the Jack Series. These are outright debutants to the grid for the 2025 season, and ones that competed more than one round. So obviously people like Bensley weren't in contention for this, and Leslie weren't in contention for this. But you're absolutely right. There was an absolute runaway winner for this one, and it was, of course, Charles Rainford, who took, let's say, wins, podiums, pushed the Jack Series all the way, and looked genuinely very, very competitive in a car that wasn't always so.
Yeah, and I must say at this moment, thank you, Charles, for being able to take an interview with us this season. If you haven't gone and watched it already, go back and have a look at that now. It was quite a surreal experience for us, and certainly made our 2025 season.
Always working, that link, always working at you. Should work in local radio. Third up in our travels, and it was off to the county of Chris Sutton, Martin Brundle, and maybe, when it suits, George Russell. It's always a bit ambiguous where if it's Wisbech, Kings Lynn or somewhere else. Snetterton Park came calling once more, and Carish reminded us that he too was in the title hunt, securing a pole and converting it into a race one victory, leading home Ingram. Yes, he was there again, and Sutton. Definitely a theme developing there, huh? Race 2 and the Grand Tyre Fast was in full effect, possibly the worst we saw all season. Camish dropping back to 19th. Yes, that's Camish dropping back to 19th. Ingram dropped a wheel in a rare error and found himself meeting a barrier. And Sutton managed to defy all logic by finishing 10th in race 2. And you're celebrating a 10th. You probably know how bad these rules are, but I've said enough about that throughout the season. I'm sure you're all accustomed to my views on that. But I'm glad that we chose to tinker with qualifying rather than tyres for 2026. Good job as always. Up top, Rowbottom was quietly building some momentum and grabbed his first win of the year from Morgan, taking podium number 2, and Chilton returning to form in 3rd. Yes, Ford and Hyundai on more podiums. Race 3, though, was a history maker, and it was great actually to be there to see this. Fan favourite Mikey Doble used every trick in the book to keep the wily Sutton at bay and claimed his first British touring car win, the 3rd new winner in 9 races. Perhaps we have been too negative at times.
Not only did he do that quite comfortably, he held off a resurgent Sutton as well. He was certainly coming through the pack and really hunting him down at times, but he didn't show any signs of making a mistake, did he?
Absolutely not. The final step of the podium belonged to Josh Cook, who was obviously bored of his customary 6th, decided he wanted to get in on the trophy scoring action. We also saw Max Hull continue his crashy start in the touring car career, smashing into Shedden in a absolutely bizarre
I believe
move,
he was quite popular with Mr. Shedden after that, wasn't he?
I don't think Shedden was wasn't very happy, I think it's fair to say.
No.
Wasn't there a shot of him storming down the pit lane a la sort of Michael Schumacher? I was going Schumacher style, but yeah, that's fine. And also, as we mentioned, Crease opted to put his mate in the Hyundai seat for this round, which signalled the end of Crease's season. Blink and you missed it. Snetterton did certainly spring a few surprises, but did any of them make the good surprise nomination of the season? Again, I can do it too, So let's find out.
So looking towards the good surprises of the season, we have Power Max Racing as a whole, considering the season that they've been through, obviously taking a win at this early stage, and then what dramas were yet to become of them. We certainly think they pulled it back quite well, and beyond adversity, did fairly well. We have Restart Racing for a title-winning season, both in the independent teams and Drivers' Championship. We have Charles Rainford for his storming start and continuation of the season, finishing well inside the top 10 in the championship. And then we had the driver yet to come. Proctor would join the grid after Snetterton and go on to form some astonishing results and be one of Ingram's main allies in the title race.
Yeah, I think this was the hardest award to award because, as you say, PMR defied all odds to stay in all relevant title fights that they were in, and then take a car they'd never tested or turned a wheel in before and make it score points in pretty much all around it, then contested.
Yep.
Restart Racing in only their second year in the touring cars, taking an outright win,
yep.
podiums, and 2 championships, which is in a brand new car for this year as well, which is absolutely incredible. Rainford, a lot was hyped about him coming into the season, but I think he surpassed all expectations.
You've got to be able to live up to that hype.
Oh, absolutely,
as well,
yeah.
And certainly think he has done.
And then Proctor, you say, came in at Thruxton, banged himself into the top 6, and as you say, throughout the season, just kept banging in consistent finish after consistent finish, and became a driver that nobody wanted to mess with as they tried to close down Ingram.
It's almost a mic drop if he doesn't come back next year as well. It's just like, I've done my stuff, I'm off now, thanks.
So after a great deal of debate, and I say this one did require a lot of debate between us, we have decided to award the best good surprise to Senna Proctor, and this is on the basis that he'd been away from the sport for a long time. It's hard to come in partway through the season as well. Your testing has been very, very limited. I don't actually think he'd turned a wheel in that car, had he?
The thing is, he'd come in earlier than expected as well.
Yes.
With the whole controversy that went with the Crease Bensley seat, Hyundai had a decision to make, and it looks like they actually made the right decision this time round by bringing Proctor in, and he was just on the pace as soon as he got in the car.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that look, we both rate Proctor here on the podcast. We both think he's a very, very talented young driver, but none of us, particularly given how much Crease has struggled in the car as well, you start to think, okay, is this the one that's not being developed as hard as quickly as the other two, the front runners? You know, is this the one that's getting all the older parts rather than newer parts, etc.? And that might still be the case, but if that is, that makes this even more impressive, because Proctor absolutely came in, and I'd argue for large parts of the season completely outshone Chilton and Morgan, who both had decent seasons in their own right.
Yep.
Thruxton next up then, and we, in our predictions championship, put all our eggs in the Josh Cook basket for this one, which went well.
Thruxton and Cook go hand in hand, especially in a Honda, until 2025.
Sutton continued his early season form, taking pole in a soaking wet circuit of speed. Senna Proctor, who...
Wasn't it just a bit
wet? Absolutely. It was sea-style conditions at Thruxton. Senna Proctor, who, let's be honest, now he's won an award, probably won't see this as big an achievement, but as we mentioned, he was able to storm into the top 6 qualifying following the Crease kerfuffle and hit the track driving, and showing real early promise.
He was so unfortunate to then have a mechanical issue in that final session and not actually get a lap in, because who knows where he could have been.
Technically, it was an electrical issue rather than mechanical. Race 1 continued with the theme of the season with a Ford and Hyundai podium. This time, Ingram, Sutton and Camish. Race 2 saw another Ford and Hyundai podium, Sutton, Ingram and Rowbottom, who copyrighted his own overtake manoeuvre at the complex, where he did the same move around 72 times and nobody learned from it. I'm sure he overtook Hill 6 times in the same manner this weekend. To be fair to Rowbottom, it was an absolutely masterful piece of overtaking through the complex, where he would check to the outside and dink back to the inside at the last minute. His
early season form was really strong as well. He was really consistent, picking up podiums and good points finishes, propelling him up the championship.
Race 3, we saw another one, Ford and Hyundai podium. This time, Rowbottom grabbing a very eye-catching win from Ingram, podium 9 out of a possible 12, and Camish in 3rd. Proctor marked his earlier than advertised return of a 9th, a 6th, and a 4th. Not bad to score 3 decent points finishes in your first.
All right, I suppose.
Yeah, not bad. Another week, another issue for Hall. An incident with Osborne saw Hall retire from race 1 and didn't get out for races 2 or 3. We also saw the Napa cars of Camish and Sutton eat their number plates, which was fun. That was an interesting part of the season.
Swallowed into the air duct.
Yep. And Toyota's woes, notice I haven't really mentioned them yet, continue to be there if their car lacking any real pace around this very fast track indeed. Thruxton wasn't overly exciting this year, and you won't be too surprised to see it didn't make it into our moments of the season. But what did?
Yeah, we've got 4 moments of the season. So we've got PMR bringing the Cupra to the grid in an astonishing feat behind the whole touring car paddock, basically. We have Mikey Doble's win at Snetterton, his maiden win in the championship, and a significant one for PMR. We have the Knockhill Spider, which was crawling all over Paul O'Neill, which makes a change for something to be crawling all over him. And we have Osborne's win at Silverstone, a lights to flag victory, but a confident one at that.
Absolutely. Talking of the Spider, at Ali Pally last night in the darts, Ross Smith had a wasp on him for most, but he didn't. It was almost like asleep on the back of his collar. And once the wasp flew off, he then lost 6 on the bounce, I think, and ended up going out. So wasp. It was the lucky wasp. So maybe now the Spider has gone for Paul O'Neill, his ITV career will who knows? Dear. We've gone for Mikey Doble's win as the best moment of the season. Undoubtedly, PMR getting back to the grid was an incredible feat, absolutely. Osborne's win, fantastic for him to take his first win. However, in a car that you'd expect wins to come in. Every single year with the Astra when it was on the grid, we would always say it's too old, and we'd upset people like,
it's not coming back next year. We know that.
We'd upset Adam Weaver by saying it's old and it can't possibly run. And Doble came so close to taking a win last year at Alton Park with Jake Hill passing him on the final lap in the final sector. And this year, with all due respect to Jake Hill, keeping Sutton behind you is, in my opinion, a harder task, and he did it perfectly and was able to take that Astra through the long, difficult parts of Snetterton and get it over the line to take his first win in the sport, which is just fantastic.
It's the kind of thing that happens in touring cars where it doesn't matter who you are up and down the paddock, everyone goes, yes, he's finally done it.
There wasn't anybody who wasn't... No. I don't think Sutton was disappointed, to be honest with you. Nobody would begrudge that win. And I think, with what would happen to PMR for the rest of the season, it's just an even better moment in the wider context of the 2025 season. One last track then before the summer break, and we were once again trackside, although it didn't feel very summery at Alton Park.
It was a bit chilly, wasn't it?
It was. We got a real mix of weather, which always makes for good racing, particularly at somewhere like Alton Park. We saw Lloyd crash with Cook and have a large oopsie moment where it was anybody's fault but his own. It was interesting. We saw Hall's issues continue with another skirmish, and out front, well, again, we saw the usual Ingram storming to a race with victory from Camish, and Smiley grabbing Restart Racing's first Btcc podium. A great moment for the independent outfit. Again, I'm going to say it again, only in their second season of the sport series.
Ingram winning and getting podiums was getting a little bit boring by this point, wasn't it?
It was, and we'd seen race 2 Ingram sort of hint at the prowess of the engineers at Virtue, and potentially this might have been the moment where the momentum shifted between the cars. He was able to secure 4th on the, quote, bad tyre. Some eyebrows met some hairlines at that, because it was a moment where we all sort of went, well, that's Snetterton. Camish went from 1st to 19th, and Ingram's managed to stay here until 4th.
Obviously, vastly different weather conditions and stuff like that, but it was kind of a signal of things to come.
Absolutely. Sutton took his customary win from Morgan. Is that another podium, Adam?
Never quite had enough to get the win this season, but he was consistently up there this season.
No, but I must admit, when I was doing the research for this, I was like, I don't remember having this many podiums at this stage.
Quietly going about his business.
And then Chilton behind. Anything you can do, I can do one less better, finishing in 3rd. Race 3 saw the heavens open, and then just at the point of racing beginning, stop, which was very, very good indeed. So we saw crossover point was mentioned a lot, and the independent drivers in particular felt like England's batting order. One lap after another independent driver left. I remember that because I had a prediction that weekend that there'd be a different independent winner each race. And come race 3, when they're all falling off,
we nearly didn't have an independent winner in race 3.
Only one independent driver finished race 3, and I'm fairly sure it was
Patterson.
No, I think he was disqualified for ride height. It was Lloyd,
because he changed his tyres.
He did. Lloyd was the one who finished it, I'm confident. But I was as concerned.
That was a mental final. I would say weekend.
I would say I was concerned as the Bazball era, but they don't seem concerned about the fact nothing seems to work, so never mind on that one. Not sure Shedden would have cared given Toyota's poor season, but he was able to take a win in a very controlled drive from
helped a little by the safety car
and the weather, the great equaliser, but he was able to stand the tallest, and he was able to take a win. And at that point, what was a very, very dismal year, more dismal than the weather year for Toyota. Sutton came second because, of course, he did. And Rowbottom again took an impressive 3rd, where he didn't really put a foot wrong in tricky conditions. Before that summer sun, let's look at who shone in the Jack Sears this season.
Yeah, so we've got 4 Jack Sears drivers to go to. There were sort of like three main title hopefuls that gradually got dwindled down to two. So we've got Daryl de Leon in the WSR BMW. We've got Sam Osborne in the Napa Full Focus. We've got Dexter Patterson in the Cupra with Unlimited Motorsport. And we've got Charles Rainford with LKQ Euro Car Parts Technique, whatever it is.
With BMW and whatever else. Yeah.
So yeah, the nominations.
Yeah, all four were impressive in their own ways. Dexter actually took the opening round at Donington. He won the Jack Sears 4, but there's only one winner for this, and it is Daryl de Leon, who in only his second season, I keep saying series, it's not Netflix, in his second season took his Jack Sears crown and took 2 race wins along the way. It was 2, wasn't it?
I think so.
And took a couple of poles in there as well. So yeah, a very, very strong year from from Daryl in the Jack Sears, who is one of the best one-lap drivers I think we have in the touring cars on one-lap pace. And as we've said throughout the series, he is very, very quick. And if he stays in the series, he's only going to get better.
I was going to say, he got his big step up to WSR, and it was always going to put a little bit of pressure on his shoulders. But certainly towards the end of the season, he was able to carry that pressure, wasn't he?
Pressure? What pressure?
And yeah, this will probably top his season off, taking our Jack Sears driver of the season.
I'd have thought so. Yeah, that Gala dinner is nothing in comparison to to being recognised by fans of the sport. We hope you're enjoying the award show. Just a very quick 5-minute, if less than that, break to remind you to. Well, it won't be 5 minutes.
I was going to say,
well, Okay, well, it might be now you've argued with me. Just to remind you all to make sure you have subscribed to the pod, whether that be on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. If you like this video, make sure you drop it a thumbs up on YouTube. If you don't like this video, drop it a thumbs up on YouTube because it still helps us either way. Drop a comment where you can, and always get involved at the action, on the action, by going to. I was waiting for you to come in.
Come on.
Okay, I'm doing it solo. But Sam sometimes will talk to you, but just not today. Make sure that you're across our social media. We always try and interact with you where we can. So we want you to be part of the discussions moving forward for 2026.
Yeah, thank you for all the support that you've had this season. We can see how the numbers have gradually been growing. And if you haven't seen already from our Spotify Wrapped, we're very grateful for all the support going forward. And if you aren't subscribed already, why not? Get on that subscribe button down below.
Or comment why you're not. There you are. Ball's in your court.
Right then, moving into the second half of the season, and Croft kicked it off without a team, unfortunately. One Motorsport were not there due to the illness of Steve Dudman, but normality and form continued, with Ingram snatching a pole position from Camish and Mikey Doble up in third, still in the Astra at this point, in what would be the last event for that Astra. Not that they knew it at the time. The first race of the weekend went the way of a dominant Ingram from Camish and a fighting third for Proctor, all the way up from 8th on the grid, showing that his form wasn't just temporary, it seems to be quite permanent. Sutton had his worst result of the season following a puncture and finished down in 20th. Not one that he'd want to remember, but he did finish every race this season. Meanwhile, Daryl de Leon took the Jack Sears win and Lloyd the independent win in race 1. Race 2 saw Ingram fall down to 8th on the alternative tyre, still proving that he can run it fairly well.
Alternative is an interesting, more neutral way of describing it.
While Robot on Chilton and de Leon, 4th, 5th and 6th from race 1, took the podium for race 2 in that order. Sutton charged through the field to 5th overall, which again was one of those typical Sutton charges, putting him in with a good chance for race 3. Sutton did take advantage in race 3 and went on to win it from Tingram, and the second podium of the weekend for Proctor. The Jack Sears win for the weekend was taken by de Leon, and the independent win went overall to Mikey Doble. You like Croft, don't you?
Favourite circuit on the calendar. We also saw the Rainford Camish incident in race 3, which I think was Rainford's first non-finish up to that point, because I'd said in the podcast leading up to it that both him and de Leon were having a really good habit of finishing all the races, and then I lost a heap load of points. Not that I'm bitter, I remember this, and I'm working out in therapy as we speak.
Yeah, it was quite an unfortunate incident where everyone got a little tangled up in the final complex. We're going to move on to the BTCP car of the season now, and the nominees are...
Yes, we've gone for the BMW. It can be any of the four. They've all had their moments this season. The Virtue Hyundai, the Napa Ford Focus, and
long rest his soul.
That's the word I'm looking for. The Vauxhall Astra run by PMR.
Yeah, so the winner of best car of the season has to be the Hyundai. Its domination this season was kind of unmatched. It won the main championship, it won the Independence Championship. It was really the car to beat, and they have built a monster of an engine in that car, which is certainly powering its way to a lot of victories.
It also got better as the season went on as well. There was a time where you and I would argue weekly about what car was better, whether it be the Napa Ford or the Hyundai, but towards the end of the season there was no argument, and that was not just after England won it. It was probably the final 3-4 rounds we pretty much both agreed that Hyundai had really overtaken the Ford as the best car on the grid.
Back over the Scottish border once again then, following a very turbulent time for one team. Yes, PMR had suffered the worst possible outcome following a fire at their base. The Astras were no more, along with a lot of tools, awnings, materials that they would normally use for a British Touring Car weekend. But once again, we saw how the sport pulled together as a community. PMR actually ended up being the first team up at Knockhill that weekend, with 2 Cupras ready to race, and their fight and determination was not in vain.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that they were lent a Cupra by Unlimited Motorsport, sorry. And I can't remember where they got the other one from.
It was
Jellies, wasn't it? They got Jellies, and then they got given or lent the spare Patterson shell, didn't they? Effectively,
they did.
Yes.
And BMW started dominating once again. They dominated qualifying on Saturday, taking a 1-2-3 with Charles Rainford taking his maiden pole position, followed by Jake Hill and teammate Daryl De Leon. And come race 1 on Sunday, Jake got through, as we would probably expect. Back from illness last time out. I don't think they made enough of that at that point. But it certainly was a dominating weekend for him.
Turkington certainly didn't.
He took no time at all to settle back in, taking the victory from Rainford, while De Leon unfortunately fell through the field in what was a difficult race for the teenager. Ingram snuck onto the podium once again, while Sutton was down in 7th, following tricky qualifying of 10th, and he didn't make the progress we were expecting him to make.
No, and Hill very nearly lost his win because Halstead decided that he couldn't remember what flags meant, and whilst being blue flagged, decided to just park his Cupra on the apex of the bottom of Duffer's Tip. I can't remember now, but it was certainly early on in the lap. And yeah, it wasn't a great look for anybody involved, including Hill afterwards, who had a little bit of a rant on the ITV cool down interview. I say cool down, I mean this word, heat up.
Is Hill ever cool?
In fairness, I defended them at the time. You just got a microphone under the nose of somebody punching with adrenaline who's nearly lost a race win because of the incompetence of another driver. That is, I wouldn't be particularly understanding either, to be honest with you.
Race 2 then saw Ingram take another race victory.
Are you bored of this? I am. It's dull, isn't it? Boring.
Despite being on the unfavourable tyre, and this was the sign that Ingram meant business for this season. Again, edging out his title rival Sutton, who was let through by Camish over the line. An early sign of intent from Napa that they were certainly backing just one driver.
Yes, but this on paper that happened, but of course they did it under yellow flags, didn't they? So the positions were reversed back, so it didn't quite work as they would have intended.
Jake Hill then benefited from the reverse grid once again to take another win for the weekend, comfortably from Camish this time, who had no need to let Sutton through as he was already ahead of Ingram. And in race 3, we also saw all of PMR's hard work pay off as Mikey Doble managed to bring home points in 15th for the team that were not even certain of having any sort of car or team ready for the weekend. Yeah. An astonishing achievement by them, and all credit to them, and their hard work certainly didn't go unnoticed by the rest of the paddock. Now then, we'll move on to our 7th award of the night. The one that no one really wants to win, I'm pretty sure, but it is the British Touring Car Podcast Villain of the Season. So you know we do our villains every single week, and our nominations for this are...
Dan Rowbottom, specifically the Dan Rowbottom of the last couple of rounds, who managed to yeet Sutton into the abyss and out of the championship. Well, not out of the championship fight, but damaged the championship fight. And then at Brands Hatch decided that the manufacturer's title wasn't really on his agenda.
And also suffered himself when he could have quite easily had a third in this championship.
Yes, quite. Aaron Taylor-Smith, a lot was made of his move to the manufacturer back Toyota at the start of the season, but it never really got going for him. And then you can probably tell these are mine because they're quite meta. The tyres for 2025, see any previous podcast for my thoughts on those. And the driver merry-go-round. We've been assured many a time that with the new stricter TBL rules, there won't be a driver merry-go-round. And yet, I think Toyota...
Teams always find a way.
There was, in double figures, I made it, of changes to the driver lineup throughout the season. Obviously, we had the Bensley dramas from earlier in the season. Toyota swapped drivers seemingly on a coin toss. We had Jelly turn up in a Cupra for Unlimited Motorsport for one weekend for reasons. And I'm not including the move to the Cupra for PMR because that is a legitimately extreme
position. No one moved in or around that team apart from the vehicle.
Exactly. And then Cook, who was out with one Motorsport in the code, randomly spawned into a Toyota as well. So yeah, it was a year where we did see a lot of driver movement, even though we're always promised we won't. So that gets on the list. However, there can only be one winner.
Yeah, unfortunately, villain of the season does go to Aaron Taylor-Smith. He was best of the rest last time out in 2024, and we thought moving to a manufacturer team was going to be that jump pad or that launch pad that he needed to possibly get into that top 6 of the championship fight. However, that twinned with a pretty shoddy Toyota engine, meaning that he ended up finishing 14th in the championship. A real letdown on what was expected from him.
Yeah, he was outshone by Shedden, which in some ways there's no shame that he is a 3-time champion, but he'd also been away from the sport for a long time, was able to come in and really exude his dominance at the team. I think it also goes against Taylor-Smith. There were weekends where Dorlin was outshining him as a rookie in the car. And then Cook when Cook came in, and okay, I know he had the engine early, but yeah, Cook came in and absolutely outshone him as well. It was supposed to be a really strong year for Aaron Taylor-Smith, and ultimately, I think 6th might have been his best result. If not, it was certainly no podiums.
He had a 4th at Silverstone, but 7 non-finishes across the season, which really does hamper your progress.
For a driver we were certain was going to take wins this year.
On to Donington Park then, coming towards the end of the season. It was the GP layout. Tom Chilton seems to like Donington.
Goes well here, yeah.
Took pole position from a final session that dominated by the Hyundais. His teammate Tingram alongside him with Proctor and also Smiley making up the Super 6 shootout. Cook was back from his 2-race hiatus following the troubles with One Motorsport. Racing a Speedworks Toyota, which unfortunately saw the end of Dorlin's season. As we just mentioned, he was doing okay up until
then. I thought he really shone, and it's a shame he had to move aside, whether for funding or for development reasons, because Cook had been helping him with some development stuff. Yeah. But I suppose also Toyota had to finish the season strongly given manufacturer pack team and then make the engine change. You have to justify it, I guess.
Yes, definitely. Race 1 of the weekend was taken by Tom Chilton. A little surprised that Ingram was not handed the win as Sutton made progress through the field from 10th. Obviously, something that Virtue stood by this season was that if someone was going to take a win and Ingram was behind, that they were going to stand by that winner. Rumour
has it that Zach Brown is actually the team principal of Virtue, yeah.
Oh, dearie me. Sutton managed to finish 4th overall. He was also not let through by Dan Rowbottom, putting Sutton on the better tyre for race 2. Smiley struggled though from 3rd on the grid, managing to finish only 9th overall as the Napa Fords came through the field. Going into race 2 then, and it started with a big coming together between Osborne, Rainford and Proctor. Proctor seemed to drop it going up into McLean's and caused chaos, really.
Yeah, side swipes.
Yes, definitely. And rain was in the air.
Not Rainford, rain.
No, Rainford was firmly on the ground. Rain was in the air during the race, and I kind of put the mockers on it by putting my umbrella up early, didn't I?
Yeah, you ruined everything.
And chaos ensued on the restart with Rowbottom, let's say, outbreaking himself and colliding with Sutton, putting Chilton wide as well, demoting all 3 of them down the order. Sutton then ran wide again at the old hairpin, an error alongside Taylor-Smith to really compound both of their seasons. and this allowed Camish to go off and catch and pass Ingram to take the race victory, whilst Ingram was then able to manage on the hard tyre to bring the car home in 4th. 4 positions ahead of Sutton. Before the race ended, though, the heavens absolutely opened, didn't they? And it was chaos.
They did, but not round the whole track. And just sort of short, sharp shower, it doesn't do it justice.
No. Right up at McLean's, it was McLean's and Coppice were pretty much the only 2 corners that were teeming down. You could see it was like a wall of rain.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
The drivers drove into, and there were about 10 of them that had to grin and bear the conditions. I think 7 of them went off the track. And it really shook up the whole top 10 finishing order before the safety car was put out. Needed, I think.
Yeah, even I wouldn't debate that one. Yeah, no, even I wouldn't debate that one.
So, yeah, it really shook up the order and was probably the only mad point of the season that we'd really seen.
That was I've never seen anything like it.
No.
I've seen rain come down quickly, but never in just 2 parts of or 2 corners of the circuit, and then be over so quickly, but cause so much devastation.
I know. So starting from pole in race 3, Sutton knew he would have to defend being on the harder tyre, with Ingram looking to come through the field on the softer tyre, and this was the first occasion throughout the season so far that we actually got to see the 2 title rivals go head-to-head on track. Ingram would eventually come out on top, being on that softer tyre. Sutton put up a decent fight and still finished second.
Those 2 were so far ahead of the rest of the field. It's ridiculous, wasn't it?
And considering Sutton being on that more difficult, challenging tyre, he raced really well.
Yeah, completely agree.
The title fight was ramping up and going into the final 2 rounds of the season. But before that, we'll take a look at our next award, and that is Team of the Season. The nominations for this are...
Yeah, so we've gone for Team Virtue, whatever they're called, Accelerate Motorsport, the 4 drivers there. Team Napa Alliance, whatever they're called, Ford, PMR, and Restart Racing.
Yeah, they're all drivers, or all teams have had a good driver this season that has shown their best, either taking championships, taking victories,
Podiums,
or even come through adversity. But as a team, we don't think we've seen as good as Restart this season. They are the winners of the best team for 2025. They've taken the Independent Drivers' Championship. They've taken the Independence Teams Championship. And in what is only their 2nd season, it's been a big jump for them as well to jump into that Hyundai.
Outright race win as well, which will as well, podiums along the way too. And I think that's the thing for me, is their 2nd season, and this is the first year running that car. We know the car is good. We know that they are effectively a customer of Virtue, but it doesn't mean you expect them to. We've seen customer teams all over the place. Haas are a customer team of Ferrari, which isn't a very good example at the minute, but you get my drift. Williams have been a customer team of Mercedes for years and have been nowhere near the level of Mercedes. Just because you have good parts from a good team doesn't mean you can turn them into race winners or competitiveness, and they've done just that.
I think what really helped out is both the drivers had driven that Hyundai before and were able to settle into the car quite nicely.
Yeah, I forgot about that, yeah.
And almost help the team push forward from that point. And as long as budget constraints don't get in the way, I think we could well see the same driver lineup for them next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then, Silverstone saw the BMW's back on form as Darrell de Leon took first pole position for his WSR team, closely followed by a rejuvenated Gordon Shedden and Jake Hill. The 2 title contenders struggled for 1-lap pace on the short Northamptonshire circuit, qualifying all the way down in 12th and 14th. Not many corners to make up some time in there.
Run the Dorito.
I know your favourite track is Silverstone, isn't it?
I mean, I went to this one without you, which was
You did.
a sad experience. I took my other half, who doesn't. It's a different experience. We'll leave it at that. Love you dearly. But yes, I did go on, not on my own, but without you. It was a very good day out, and they do a lot of extra stuff there. But as a circuit, I say every year, it is a Dorito, and Doritos are best eaten, not raced around.
Excellent insight there. Race 1 saw a surprise winner with Dan Lloyd taking Restart Racing's first ever win. And despite a difficult start for the season for him, his form grew throughout, and this was the catalyst to what would be a championship winning performance from himself. Hill followed him home, still with eyes on third in the championship, and Shedden grabbed another podium in third.
It was a really random, sort of, considering that every other podium has been Ford, Hyundai, or whatever.
Yep.
This is a really random podium, but a welcomed one.
Yeah, Ingram and Sutton managed to creep back through the field and take 7th and 8th respectively. And race 2 would see the second battle of the season between the two title contenders, with Ingram again coming out on top, winning the race from Ash, and again Hill joining them on the podium. It's a real late season resurgence from Hill, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Race 2 also saw Dan Camish non-start due to a turbo issue, and Dan Rowbottom failed to finish, which was really damaging for both their chances for finishing third in the championship, as Jake Hill took advantage. Aaron Taylor-Smith showed that the Toyota could be fast with the Toka engine aboard, taking 4th, while Dan Lloyd again took the independent win in 6th. And race 3 would see Sam Osborne drawn onto pole position. A circuit which he tends to perform quite well at.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's because of the lack of corners, but we'll see.
Some drivers just like some circuits, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
Morgan and Chilton had an excellent race 3, both pushing through the field from the back to finish 7th and 8th respectively, while Sutton took another podium, but a little way back from Cook in second, and the win was taken comfortably by Sam Osborne, who never really looked under any pressure, did he?
Agreed.
To take his maiden win in the British Touring Cars. It was an interesting weekend because we saw a lot of different happenings on a circuit that we don't get too much action at.
Yeah, far more random results, I think you'd say.
Including a massive fire for Nick Hamilton.
Yes.
Which toasted the car quite well, didn't it? But he was able to safely get out and to safety. But we didn't see the rest of the car for that weekend, as you may be surprised. Moving on to our next ward then, and minus the burning Cupra, we're going to take a look at our livery of the season now.
Yep, so the nominations were Max Hall's Cupra, for those who don't remember from his absence in the second half of the season. It had sort of like a mouth at the front and was yellow and blue, which is always exciting rather than the just black or white that we've become accustomed to. We had Jake Hill's metallic blue Laser Tools BMW, Senna Proctor's greeny machine for Virtue Motors, and specifically Napa's Valvoline livery, which they ran at Donington Park with Camish and Sutton.
Yeah, so winner this season for the best livery is Jake Hill in that electric blue WSR car. It just pops. Yep. It just stands out from the rest.
On a hot day, it reflects off the surface. In a wet day, you can really pick it out in the gloom. It was a very, very good livery. And as I say, on grids where colours are getting less and less, and with teams are going mainly for whites or blacks, it is excellent to see a team buck that trend and go for some colour on the car.
I must say, I think we both said this at the start of the season. We weren't too sure whether it was going to work for that car.
No, when we saw the promo pictures, we both went,
yeah.
But having seen it in the flesh, it completely changed minds. Yeah, absolutely.
And looked brilliant. Coming into the final weekend of the season, and it was a 2-horse race. Ingram certainly had the upper hand going into the weekend, and Sutton would certainly need some help from his teammates and some luck if the title was going to end up back in his hands. Ingram got the upper hand in qualifying on Saturday, finishing 7th, 4 places ahead of his title rival. Meanwhile, again, it was a fast BMW at Brands taking pole position. Daryl de Leon backed up his performance from Silverstone and notched another pole, while the two Napa boys of Camish and Rowbottom followed him in 2nd and 3rd respectively, in prime position to help Sutton out on Sunday.
Oh, no.
Although Ingram also had Chilton and Morgan in the race in 4th and 5th as well. Race 1 on Sunday would see De Leon not be able to take pole position due to a drive shaft issue which he felt on the way to the grid, which was so disappointing.
Massively so, yeah, massively so.
And it could have had a big impact on the Jack Sears Championship at that point. It meant that Camish and Rowbottom would fight it out at the front from pole effective pole position. Hill managed to suffer a puncture on the opening lap, putting paid to his chance of third in the championship. And then it wasn't too much longer, and another BMW was in the pits. Rowbottom struggled for pace in this race and started to drop back, while Rainford was looking really quite racy against both Chilton and Morgan.
No doubt G'd up by De Leon's dramas.
Exactly. Camish took a comfortable win, whilst Ingram ended up 5th, with Sutton only 9th, which all but sealed the championship for Ingram. It was pretty much going to be a formality for race 2 and race 3.
Yeah.
Race 2 would see the final head-to-head battle of the season between both Ingram and Sutton, albeit Sutton on the harder tyre once again. It would be his last roll of the dice, and again he would finish second, which was really the story of his season.
Great.
Too many times finishing second behind Ingram. Following his troubles in race 1, Hill managed to storm through the field to take an impressive 7th. And the final race of the season would then see Josh Cook take his one and only win of the season.
As predicted by me.
From his good friend Ash Sutton.
Are they?
Yeah, apparently. From Ash Sutton, with Jake Hill taking his final Btcc podium before departing the championship. Ingram finished down in 7th, but that was enough to stave off Sutton and take his second Btcc crown. The race also saw Dan Lloyd confirm his independent championship win, and Daryl de Leon would become the new Jack Sears champion, following a small issue, shall we say, for Rainford.
Yeah, as I say, we gave Aaron Taylor Smith our villain award earlier, and I'm sure that some people may also agree with this because of the incident in race 2 where he, we'll put it bluntly, punted Rainford off and made Rainford have to retire from race 2, which effectively cancelled out De Leon's retirement from race 1.
Did. Yeah, a championship rounded off in style, and that leads us into a wonderful penultimate award of the night, and that is the BTCP Driver of the Season, of which the nominees are...
The driver nominations are Ash Sutton, who was able to stick with Ingram all the way, producing some excellent overtakes. The one thing you might criticise Ingram for not having, although when you're out front you don't need to overtake anybody. Jake Hill, who battled back from a really disappointing start to the season.
And illness,
missing Croft, to get back into the championship fight for third, even though he didn't quite take the third position. He was certainly in the title or in that fight for it. Daryl de Leon, in only his third season in the touring car, second full season in the touring cars. Yeah. Doing well to keep the pressure off going to a big team so young and taking his Jack Sears win. Or Tom Ingram, who just spawned podiums for fun, basically.
And wins.
And won his second touring car crown. Obviously, this was a very difficult award to give.
Yes, yeah, much deliberation. And we finally came down to the fact that Tom Ingram has definitely been the best driver this season. Yeah. His consistency throughout, as you already mentioned, he took, 9 podiums out of the first 12 races. Yeah. Won a staggering amount of races this season, and it always seemed to be a win from Ash, didn't it?
It was a good time to have shares in Calyx shells from IKEA for all those trophies.
Yes, definitely was. So yeah, Tingram takes the best driver of the season. So the 2025 season is over, and it saw the end of a career for Steve Ryder, a sportsman, a commentator, a broadcaster that has been with us, what it feels like, from the start.
Certainly in our lives of watching.
Yeah, definitely. He's been of great service to the touring cars, but not just the touring cars. His TV career started out on ITV in 1980. He's moved across to BBC, Sky. He's done all sorts of sports adventures, rugby, F1. He loves his motorsport, which is why we saw him come back to the British touring cars. And his service to the touring cars has been undoubtedly probably the longest we'll ever see, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. A man of pure consistency, with that being his hairstyle, his dress sense, but also his consummate professional presenting style. He has become synonymous with the touring cars. He was on there when it started getting regular TV exposure back with the BBC in the late 80s. And he would then when ITV took over the coverage, he became the main studio and live broadcast presenter from 2009 onwards, anchoring race weekends and the extended coverage that ITV provided.
He's had to put up with Tim Harvey for so long as well.
Yes, he has in later years. Paul O'Neill. Yeah, he's, as I say, touring cars and Steve Ryder go together like bread and jam, or you and I.
Crackers and cheese.
Yep, exactly that. And he has been able to host British touring car associated events beyond race broadcasts, such as award ceremonies and championship celebrations, etc. A man who is deeply respected by all in the sport, including us two. And whilst we're not presenting their own right, I think it's fair to say he is certainly an example to us both of what professionalism looks like. Whether we follow that is another question, but it's going to be very straight. And whilst the presenters that have come since him so far have done a very, very good job, it's going to be a very interesting new era without Steve Ryder.
They're a big set of shoes to fill, and we wish him all the best.
Loafers, really.
We wish him all the best in his retirement, and I'm sure he will keep coming back to touring car weekends, even just for his own pleasure, because he really is a petrol head and one who loves the sport.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thanks, Steve, for being there for us, and enjoy your retirement.
So moving on to the final award, and the one I'd initially forgotten about, is probably the most important. It is the predictions. So at the start of the year, we both wrote who we thought would win all of the various championships, excluding the Goodyear Wingfoot, because frankly, who could be bothered, and how we thought the drivers would finish in the order. So, quick bit of housekeeping. We can never predict who is going to enter the championship, who is not. So this year we've tweaked it slightly. We are going to do this format as follows. For the 6 outright championships, if you are correct, 3 points. If you're incorrect, no points. Simple as that.
Yep.
Then for the 25 drivers we would have predicted, because we knew Proctor was coming to the championship from the off, we will be scoring it as follows. If you are bang on, it is 2 points. If you are then whoever is the closest out of us two, so say we've put Nick Halstead in 21st and he's finished 20th, and you've put him in 19th. That's a really bad example because that's equal. Say I put him in 9th. Then I would get the point for being closest. It will become clear as we go, I promise. It's like trying to explain the rules of a game or something. It's so arbitrary and tedious, isn't it?
And if we're level, it doesn't matter. We're not giving any points because we are level.
It doesn't make any difference. Sam,
so
you've got the sealed.
We have the sealed predictions here, and I have some scissors to open them.
You do. Can you please open?
I'm always very excited to see how this now turns out, because we had a lot of issues, shall we say.
Not as many issues, you are cutting it. There you go.
That's really strong gaffer tape. Right?
Well, yeah, I have to make sure it's a legitimate championship.
So,
are you going to read mine? I'm going to read yours.
I'm going to read all of them while you take scores down.
That's fine. And if you need any handwriting,
whose would you like to go through first?
We might do the main. Well, yours is on top, so we'll do your main 6 first.
Do my main 6 first.
We'll then do my main 6 after that. Okay.
Here we go.
So
my driver's champion,
was
Ash Sutton.
So no points.
Nope. My manufacturer's champion was Ford.
So no points. Virtue won that, of course.
My team's champion was Napa.
So that's 3 points. You're correct.
My independent champion. Oh God, this looks bad. My independent champion was Cook.
So no points.
And my independence team was One Motorsport.
So no points.
However, my Jack Sears champion was Daryl De Leon.
So 3 points. So that means out of a possible 18, you have scored 6.
I don't know if that's good or not.
We'll find out. Let's look at how I got on.
All right. Your driver's champion, Ingram.
3 points.
Your manufacturer's champion were Ford.
No points.
Your team's champion were Napa.
So 3 points.
Your independent champion was Cook.
No points.
Your independent teams was Restart.
So 3 points.
And your Jack Sears champion was De Leon.
So 3 points. So 12 out of a possible 18. That's a great start for me. Right then.
Looking good.
Shall we go from reverse championship order then?
Yep.
So who actually finished 25th?
So we'll get the other ones out of the way first of all. We've got Bainsley down in 29th.
Yeah, who neither of us would have predicted on.
And we've got Nick Hamilton in 28th. So neither of us can get bang on.
No.
However, we both had him in 25th, so we get no points.
No points.
Okay, Nick Halstead was 27th, and I had him. Oh, sorry, you had him in 24th,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have him on my championship, which is quite impressive.
So I presume I'm closer by default,
By default
on that one then. So that's 1 point. Did you miss him out?
Don't know, especially as I've got all the.
You've got 25 drivers.
Yeah.
You must put somebody twice.
We'll find out.
Okay. So that's 1 point to me. Shambles.
26th in the championship was Finn Leslie. Obviously, neither of us had Finn Leslie. No. And 25th was Michael Crease. Mm-hmm. I had him in 24th. You had him in 22nd, which means I get a point.
You do indeed.
In 24th in the championship was Stephen Jelly.
Oh, hang on, I've already messed this up then. Carry on.
Okay. In 24th in the championship was Stephen Jelly. I had Jelly to be finishing 16th in the championship. You had him in 17th, which means you get the point.
And that was for 20. Where was he finished overall, sorry?
24th.
So I'll just put a point there so I can even myself out. That was
23rd in the championship was Max Hall. You had him finishing 23rd in the championship.
Get in!
I had him finishing 21st.
So it's 2 for me, 0 for you.
22nd was Max Buxton, who was a late entry into the championship, so neither of us have him down. Mm-hmm. 21st was Ronan Pearson. I had him finishing 19th, as did you, so no points awarded. 20th in the championship was Dexter Patterson. I had Patterson finishing 20th, as did you, so no points.
No points on, that's for
20th, Dexter Patterson.
We both had him 20th?
Yep.
That's annoying.
19th in the championship was James Dorlin. You had Dorlin finishing in 21st. Mm-hmm. I had him finishing in 22nd. So you get a point for that. 18th in the championship was Mikey Doble. You had Doble finishing 18th in the championship. This really isn't going well for me.
I had him 18th, so yes, I had him spot on. I had him spot on.
Yep.
2 points to me. I presume you didn't have him in 18th.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so that's 0 points to you. Well, once we've done the top 15, we can have a quick look at the points if you want.
Good.
Okay.
Lovely. 17th overall was Aaron Taylor Smith. You had Aaron Taylor Smith finishing in... He's the man that's missing from your championship.
How have we both managed
to do
that?
But Aaron Taylor Smith, I had in 7th. So by default, I win that one somehow.
You do? Have I definitely not got it? I can't argue with my own handwriting, it would appear. I can't even try and claim one of those is Aaron Taylor Smith. Okay, fine.
Right. 16th overall was Sam Osborne. And you had Osborne finishing 13th. I had him in 14th, so I get the point for that.
Okay, 15, and then we'll count up where we are.
15th was Dan Lloyd. You had Lloyd finishing 15th.
And you had him?
I had him in 18th.
So it's 2-0. So we'll have a quick count up then. So obviously I'm already 12-6 up as it was. And then that's then 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11 to me. So that's now 23. And you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 overall.
Oh,
you need a very big finish here.
Right. 14th in the championship. Finished Chris Smiley. Mm-hmm. You had Smiley finishing 14th. Oh my God, this is not going well for me.
So, okay.
13th in the championship was Daryl DeLeon. You had DeLeon finishing 16th. I had him 13th. Bang on.
2 for you. Well done.
Thank God for that. 12th in the championship was Josh Cook. This doesn't look good for either of us. You are closer, but you had him finishing 6th, and I had him finishing 5th.
Oh, well, I went for the customary 6th, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Again, we couldn't foresee it was going to take 2 rounds out, to be fair, and then swap to Toyota, but yeah. 11th
in the championship overall was Aidan Moffat. You had Moffat finishing 11th, as did I.
Oh, no! So 0-0, okay.
10th in the championship overall was Senna Proctor. You had Proctor finishing 12th.
Oh.
I had him all the way down in 23rd.
What?
I really didn't think that he would do that well.
But that bad?
I know.
Wow. So
He was only meant to have half a season, but
well, he only had one extra round. That's mad.
I know.
So you had him. Where'd you have Crease in comparison to that?
24th. I didn't think that final Hyundai would do very well at all.
Okay.
9th overall in the championship was Gordon Shedden.
Mm-hmm.
You had Shedden finishing 9th. Oh dear, this is getting boring.
You had
really.
it. It's like Ingram.
I had him 8th, to be fair.
Okay, so you were. To be fair, you are quite unlucky on that. I will say.
Rainford finished 8th in the championship. You had Rainford finishing.
I can't miss him out as well.
In 5th.
5th. Oh, okay.
I had Rainford finishing in 17th.
So I am closer.
So you are closer.
You had him 17th.
Yeah, I thought he would struggle stepping up to the touring cars. It's a different beast comparing to the Porsches, but he has done very well.
Unlike you in this.
7th overall was Tom Chilton. You had him 7th.
You had him
9th.
I mean, that's unlucky because those parts. I'm not just trying to do it to gloat, but that was ever changing throughout the season. You could have easily had 2 points on another day.
Morgan finished 6th in the championship, and we both had him finishing 10th.
So no points.
5th in the championship was Dan Rowbottom. You had him finishing in 8th. I had him finishing 6th. I get the point for that.
You do indeed. You were one close, or you're closer, yep.
Jake Hill finished 4th in the championship, and you had him 4th.
Oh, get in. You had him
3rd.
Oh, that's unlucky.
Camish finished 3rd. You had him 3rd.
Did you?
No.
Where'd you have Camish then?
4th.
Oh, so you got those to the wrong way around? Oh, that's gutting. That is gutting.
Sutton 2nd. You had him 2nd. And Ingram 1st. You had him 1st.
I presume you didn't have either of those the right way around either?
No.
Do you want me to count this up, or are you happy? I am going to count it up. I got the top 4.
Yeah, you did.
That's an incredible run for someone that normally is terrible. Yeah. Okay, so let me just count this up.
We did both miss a driver out. Different drivers.
I don't know how. Because I didn't even repeat anybody, so I don't know how I've done that. Next season, we're going to have to write all the drivers out and actually then, and then maybe sort it on an Excel spreadsheet and then write them in.
Yeah, so I think quite comprehensively we can say that you are the predictions champion.
Yeah, I'm just going to add this up. If you want to do some talking in the background.
Predicting the championship. It's been a topsy-turvy kind of season. We hope you've enjoyed it and you're having a lovely Christmas. And we'll have plenty of content for you going into 2026. But if you haven't done already, do let us know down below what you would like to see from us. Whether you would like to see more vlog videos for events that we go to. Whether you'd like to see something a little bit different rather than touring cars. If you'd like to see us go to other motorsport events. Yes, I'm just going to talk over you now.
I have to give the final scores. It's my duty to do so.
Go on then.
So you finished with 6 of the main, 6 points for the main, and 6 points overall for the
12 strong.
I finished with 12 points in the 6, 28 points in the other bit. So that's 40. I've won to 40 to 6. That is crushing. 40-12, sorry. 40-12. Oh yeah, it makes it so much better. Yeah.
Big difference.
So
like a rugby school.
I do believe that first things first, this is yours. So I will lean across the camera to present you with your final stand. Hang on.
That's yours.
That's mine. You kept yours at home?
Yes.
So if the second year running, we've kept exactly...
Yes, we have.
Well, in that case, please do.
Yes, the final standings champion does go to Russ. Well done. You have astonished me with how well you've done. And I think you've astonished yourself, actually.
All the teachers said I'd be nothing at school.
Do you want me to get that framed?
I'm tempted to. I mean, considering how crap I've been on and I have been bad this year on the one we do weekend to weekend. That is astonishing. So yeah, to the teachers that said that my laziness would mean I didn't achieve things in life, where's yours?
Oh, dearie me. Have you enjoyed the season?
I have actually, on the whole. There's been some moments, I think we've got our own scepticisms for 2026. There is still life in this championship yet. There is still moments that cynicism, however you say it, sells. It makes better content to be negative than it does to be positive about everything. However, we try and be as balanced.
Right in your wheelhouse.
It is. We try and be balanced as fair as we can. And it has been a strong season. There have been some excellent moments. There are some very good quality drivers in this championship. And we have been very privileged and fortunate to go to so many rounds
Yep.
and see what we get to see. And then it is genuinely a privilege to talk to you afterwards about it. Even sometimes you are awkward and difficult. I'm sure the feeling is mutual. But most of the time, it's an absolute joy to do this podcast with you. And I've thoroughly enjoyed 2025.
Good. We'll have plenty of content for you in the build up to the 2026 season. If Plato ever releases any news, we'll bring you that as soon as it breaks.
I can only assume at this point he's working on the Gregorian calendar rather than...
yeah. All that. It's
As is customary. Now, we're recording this a few weeks before it comes out. The second we press stop on this, news is going to drop.
Yeah. But we'll see. If it has already, let us know your thoughts about that news.
Wow, I can't believe it, can you? But if it hasn't, oh, come on, Jason, where are you? That covers both of those.
Yes, yeah. But until then, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll be back again in 2026.
Thank you, as ever, and all the very best.